Hey guys, Hybrid here. Today I'm I'm bringing back the screenplays. I know I always say that because I keep on forgetting. Like, I wrote all of these like ahead of time, which is why it kills me that I can't seem to release them when I want to. But I'm trying a new look also, so comment below how you feel about the look. Also, if you look at all my other screenplays, I give them all new thumbnails. I'm also trying a new look for the thumbnails for these, just to make them more uniform. But yeah, so this is the second Wonder Woman one. I guess part 2, subtitled Olympus. Now, obviously, this is a sequel, so I do recommend you listen to my first Wonder Woman screenplay, because this does obviously follow off of that. But I do acknowledge the fact that it's been a while since I released this one from the other screenplays, so I will briefly fill in the gaps when it comes to that time, but I still, go listen to it. And also, this does take place after the Justice League screenplay, so I recommend you listen to that one too, even though you don't have to really understand this one, but to 100% understand what's going on in this one, you do kind of have to listen to the first Wonder Woman screenplay. Just like, it's a sequel, as I've mentioned before, so usually you need to watch the movies beforehand to really understand the sequel. But yeah, last but not least, this is the this is the last solo screenplay before Justice League 2. So I'm going to try releasing that one on time next week as of when I'm recording this. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Now, as always, the purpose of this isn't to view it, even though I am going to start exploring possible animation and, animators in general. But yeah, the purpose of this isn't to view it, it's really to listen to it. So I'm telling you the story so you can really imagine it in your mind. So, close your eyes, relax, or, if you're browsing the internet while watching this video or listening to this video, open up a new tab, play a game or something, I don't know. But as long as you're listening to it, that's all that matters. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now, the film starts off with Barbara Minerva, a researcher on ancient Greek relics/artifacts, and she's with a small team to find one of these said artifacts, rumored to be in the South American rainforest. Now, Barbara and her team follow a mysterious woman that seems to have a connection to this object's history, in a sense where she seems to know where it is, because after Justice League, a lot of people know about Wonder Woman, obviously. And, through that, the Amazons, they don't know where they are, but they know about the Amazons because Wonder Woman is the ambassador for the Mascara, and in turn, she's basically the ambassador for the Amazonians. And with that being said, due to their connection to, the Olympians, ancient Greek relics/artifacts relating to the Olympians are kind of a big deal now, as in the fact that a lot of people are starting to believe, hey, maybe it's not all fake and some of it has some truth to it. And obviously, a lot of these artifacts are believed to have powers also, so they're quite valuable. And that's why we have people like Barbara Minerva, searching for these things. Just a little bit of background there for people that didn't watch my, Justice League screenplay. And also, if you didn't know, from the first Wonder Woman screenplay, near the end, Ares releases a bunch of Olympian, weaponry and, equipment, objects, etc. from Olympus. And a lot of these, ancient Greek Olympian artifacts are those said things. So a little bit more background if you didn't listen to my first Wonder Woman screenplay. But moving on, this woman, a mysterious woman that we don't know who she is, brings them to a temple. Now, in the temple, very cliche style, I was kind of thinking Indiana Jones-ish when I was writing this, in a sense where we have a blade stuck in the stone. Now, Barbara's told by the woman that that's the mythical blade of Hermes, which was used by Hermes in the battle against the Titans. So, Barbara goes to pull it out, but in the process, the blade accidentally cuts her, and she blacks out. Now, I'm thinking probably the director would go for something where after she's cut, we get a POV shot from Barbara's perspective, where she blacks out, because then it opens up from the black screen to Washington, D.C. in the nighttime, with Wonder Woman flying back to the Argus base there. Now, Wonder Woman just completed another mission, this mission actually being securing the bow of Apollo, which was discovered in South Africa. Now, Steve Trevor welcomes her to the base, obviously, and in the process, an Argus team takes the bow of Apollo and puts it somewhere called the Black Box. Now, Trevor also tells Wonder Woman that Amanda Waller, who obviously is in charge of Argus, wants a debrief in about 10 minutes about what happened in South Africa. So later in Waller's office, Wonder Woman, now going by Diana as she's not in the field, because if you don't remember, Wonder Woman is only her code name in the field. So, moving on, Wonder Woman tells Waller about the bow and how it almost torched a good part of Cape Town to the point where anything, wouldn't be able to grow off that land anymore. Now, the reason why is because it's an Olympian weapon. So it's not just physical, it's magical. So while the fire appears purely physical, it's magical in a sense too. So to extinguish it, it would take not only, something physically to extinguish it, like water, fire hydrant, etc. It would also take magic. So you need, I guess like holy water, maybe that would count, or, someone with the magical abilities of an Olympian or greater would have to, I guess, essentially, to put it in simple terms, neutralize the magic. So it would essentially just be a physical thing instead of a magical thing also. So, because obviously the Olympians, these are weapons they use for war, and they're gods, so it's very, very powerful. But anyways, moving on. So, at this moment, Argus, specifically Amanda Waller, receives an alert that another mythical, object was found in the South American rainforest. This one, seemingly, because they don't know if it officially is this yet, but they're saying it's rumored to be the Blade of Hermes. And one of the researchers that found it is currently in a coma after exposure to it. So Diana and Steve Trevor are sent to the hospital by Waller, and there we see Barbara Minerva is currently held, and obviously in a hospital room. Now, the thing about this is that it's just Diana and Steve going, because Waller wants it to be a very tight operation. Because while the general public somewhat knows about, the Olympians and Wonder Woman and all that stuff, they don't know the full extent of it. Because obviously, if the general public all knew about the fact that there's Olympian weapons and artifacts all across the world, they'd all search for it. And due to the, obviously the potential of, basically they're all weapons of mass destruction in some sense. So very, very powerful. And they want to keep this under wraps so it doesn't get attention, and so they don't have to deal with more drama, more trouble regarding these Olympian weapons, and you guys see what I'm going for here. But anyways, at the hospital, Diana's now going under the name Wonder Woman because she's, on duty, so to speak. But anyways, Wonder Woman and Steve check with the doctors regarding Barbara's condition. Now, the doctors say that the blade is somewhat connected to her, because obviously they're wondering why is the blade there next to Barbara Minerva while she's in the coma. And the doctors explain that they seem to have some unknown link, in a sense where whenever the doctors tried removing the blade from, I guess, Barbara's, area, so to speak, take it out of the room or take it too far from her, it caused her pain to the point where when the blade was almost out of the room, they thought that, Barbara was going to die from pain. So it's pretty odd here, and Wonder Woman thinks it might be magical, like a magical connection, so to speak. So she's examining the blade, and when she does that, it causes something to happen, and Barbara just suddenly wakes up. Now, at this moment, the mysterious woman from the beginning is just smiling in the hallway, with a hood concealing who she is before she just walks away. So kind of creepy there. But Barbara wakes up, like I said, and everyone's asking her, how she feels. And, she responds that she feels with purpose, and that the gods spoke to her, and that they gave her a mission when she returned, which I guess is now. So Wonder Woman asks Barbara, what is the mission that the Olympian gods gave her, to which she responds, you. Now, at this moment, Wonder Woman's kind of taken aback, and Barbara attacks Wonder Woman, taking the blade of Hermes in the process, which causes her body to immediately become more muscular, her nails/teeth become sharper too, and she becomes much faster. Now, Wonder Woman attempts to hold her down while Steve calls for backup, but Barbara moves too quickly to capture her, basically, because, Blade of Hermes, you'd think speed would be related to it, and she moves too quickly to be captured, and she goes out of the hospital towards the rainforest. Now, obviously, this was not planned at all. So Steve tells Wonder Woman to go ahead, track her down and take her down immediately while backup arrives. So in the rainforest, we see Barbara's body, though, further changing, making her appear more feline-like, yet still lacking a tail. Now, if you know Barbara Minerva from comics, she becomes Cheetah. And I'm going to explain the transformation later, but for the sake of, where we are right now in the story, we don't fully know what's happening with her. So Wonder Woman calls out to her, telling her that she's not here to fight and only wants to help her. And Barbara then appears before Wonder Woman, starting to act like a victim, kind of playing Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman buys it, because she just wants to help her out. Now, catching Wonder Woman off guard, Barbara uses her newfound blinding speed with the blade to heavily wound Wonder Woman and kind of cut her also, before leaving Wonder Woman essentially just there to bleed out. Now, this could be a pretty brutal scene, depending on who's directing it, obviously, what type of, not lens, what type of angles they want to go for. I would like to see, not a lot of shaky cam here, but a little bit of shaky cam could be played out very well, just to show how fast Barbara Minerva is going, and, her just basically pummeling Wonder Woman and cutting her up with the blade. So she obviously leaves, and Steve shortly arrives with backup, only to find a horribly cut up and wounded Wonder Woman, obviously needing medical attention. Now, back at the Argus base, they're unable to heal or help and heal Diana's wounds because, like I said earlier, damage from an Olympian weapon is not just physical but also magical. So Waller contemplates what to do, even going so far as thinking about calling the Justice League together, because one of the purposes of the Justice League, if you didn't listen to my Justice League screenplay, is to deal with a superhuman threat, I must add, that Waller deems a tactical team wouldn't be able to take down, or one superhuman wouldn't be able to take down. And since Argus's big superhuman agent is Wonder Woman, and she just got taken down, this is a pretty big threat here to Amanda Waller. At least she's deeming it a pretty big threat. So before she jumps to doing anything extreme like that, though, Steve intervenes and tells her not to, instead coming up with the idea of taking Diana back to Themyscira for treatment. Waller approves this, and he begins to take her home. Now, Argus gives Steve Trevor a new stealth jet fitted with classified camouflage technology in order to protect the location of Themyscira from other parties that would be interested, especially ones that track Argus vehicles and personnel. And if you couldn't tell, that is the invisible jet. Now, at Themyscira, though, the Amazonians, especially Hippolyta, I can't say Wonder Woman's mother's name, so I'm just going to say Diana's mom, but it's Hippolya. I don't know why I can't say it. It's just like I can't say vegetable, or I can't say veggies. I say vegetables, and it's some weird thing. I don't know. Maybe it's how I was raised. But anyways, obviously Diana's mom and the Amazonians are excited to see Diana until Steve tells them of what's happened to her. And, they examine her wounds, and Steve asks if they can heal her, to which they explain that a wound caused by a weapon as powerful as the Blade of Hermes takes magic, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, from a powerful being rivaling the gods, especially to heal, as it's been enchanted, because it's magical and physical, and it's been enchanted to leave permanent wounds, because obviously it was used during the war against the Titans, and it was used to kill Titans, and Titans are pretty powerful, so it's some pretty powerful magic, we're talking about here. So while everyone thinks of a possible solution, Diana's mom, suddenly has a look of dread on her face. And we even see her, shedding a tear. And people don't really understand what's going on here until Diana's best friend and actually personal guard to Diana's mother, named Donna Troy, who was in the first screenplay as Diana's best friend and sparring partner, asks why she's shedding tears, to which Diana's mother responds, Circe. Now, if you couldn't tell by this point, Circe is the mysterious, woman from the beginning of the screenplay. Now, all of the Amazonians around, this area just gain a face in dread, joining Diana's mother, which causes Steve to ask about Circe, because obviously everyone knows kind of about the, most general public knows somewhat about the mythological character of Circe, but not the actual character of Circe, which is, involved in this manner. So Diana's mother explains that Circe is a powerful sorceress with corrupt magic, and she's actually infamous for turning people into animals too, which is partially explaining what's happening to Barbara Minerva, in a sense where Circe must have corrupted the magic on the blade of Hermes. So while it is enhancing Barbara Minerva, as it would anyways by her wielding it, it's also turning her somewhat, I guess, into a cheetah, which, you see what I did there? But anyways, Diana's mother recommends that Steve take Diana to Olympus so that Zeus can remove Circe's magic from her, because obviously he is powerful enough to do that. Steve listens to Diana's mother and follows her recommendation, but not before taking Donna Troy with him also, not only as protection, but, Donna Troy insists on coming to make sure Diana's okay. So they use the portal through Mount Olympus, just like in the first film, but only Diana and Donna Troy are able to pass due to the Amazonians' connection with the Olympians, which obviously Steve Trevor doesn't have. Also, this is another thing where you kind of have to listen to my first screenplay to truly understand the relationship between the Olympians and the Amazonians. So, anyways, at Olympus, it isn't long until Zeus appears before Diana and Donna Troy, sensing the corrupt magic that has entered his realm. Now, Diana isn't, incapacitated, so to speak. She's just very, very weak and in pain. Just if you're trying to imagine how she is right now. So without hesitation, obviously Zeus removes the corrupt magic from Diana, allowing her to start naturally recovering while Zeus welcomes them to their chambers to rest. If you don't remember also, Zeus is the father of Diana. So obviously being a daughter of Zeus, Zeus cares greatly, about Diana. So at the Olympian meeting room, the various gods of Olympus debate over how to take proper action over what's happening currently. Because they argue that, Circe has just indirectly violated the treaty they all agreed to long ago, which was partially not interfering with human manner, or not human, but mortal affairs, which, a lot of mythologies have that nowadays, like the gods promise to not interfere with, mortal affairs, let them do their own thing, free will, etc., etc. Now, Hermes in particular puts the notion of personally killing Circe, for debate, which, Zeus shoots it down. Because Zeus says that Diana is the Olympians' current champion. Again, this is something where you kind of have to listen to the first screenplay to fully understand. And as Diana is the Olympians' champion on Earth, because each pantheon of gods is allowed to basically pass on their powers to a quote-unquote champion. And due to this kind of law that all the pantheons follow, Diana must bring justice to Circe as a representative of the Olympians, just as Heracles has done, Jason has done, Menes, who's part of the Egyptian pantheon, has done, Teth Adam has done, see that nod I did there, and Beowulf have done beforehand with their respective pantheons of gods. So, and by the way, that was just a crap ton of Easter eggs they just dropped. Now, while Diana, wakes up, Zeus and Hermes appear in front of her. Now, Hermes tells her that if she destroys the blade with the sword of Zeus, which Zeus is going to lend her, then Barbara Minerva should turn back into a normal mortal human again. Now, Zeus gives her the sword, telling her that once she has destroyed the blade of Hermes, the sword will return to him. So, all she needs to do is stab it into the ground and try not containing it. And the reason he says that is because for her safety and anyone around the sword's safety, once it's stabbed into the ground, it's going back to Zeus. So anyone around it is essentially probably going to get fried or, hurt in the process while the sword travels back to Olympus. So Zeus also gives Donna Troy, though, a temporary blessing, somewhat like the one he gave Diana in the first film, which just obviously, gave her stuff like flight, much more strength, speed, etc., etc. But anyways, Zeus gives Donna Troy a temporary blessing to help Diana confront Barbara and Circe, as most likely Barbara Minerva is more powerful than she was before, as she's had more time to develop with the blade of Hermes, and obviously we're also dealing with Circe. So Diana and Donna Troy leave Olympus only to learn that they've been gone for about a month in Earth time, even though it seemed like a few days on Olympus. So when they exit the cave in Mount Olympus, they see that Steve has set up a small camp, with Amanda Waller there also. And Amanda Waller and Steve are happy to see Diana, obviously in full health, and, ready to fight Circe and free Barbara. Now they inform her, that Barbara's recent activities around the world as Argus, Argus is having a really hard time keeping, what's happening right now with Barbara away from people such as Batman or Superman, who would easily, discover this and try intervening if Argus wasn't trying as hard as they were to keep this under tabs. So Diana and Donna Troy get the latest location report on Barbara Minerva, which reportedly is near western Georgia. Now Diana and Donna Troy now using code names, Wonder Woman and Troya. And the reason I chose this is because I know Donna Troy is called Wonder Girl at first in the comics, but this Donna Troy is similar in age to Diana, so it wouldn't make sense for her to be called Wonder Girl, and I couldn't find any legitimate reason to call her Wonder Girl, so she's going to use the name that she used after she was Wonder Girl in comics, which was Troya, which is spelled Troia. So Wonder Woman and Troya find Barbara Minerva on the mythical island of Aiea. I think that's how you say it. It's Ieaei, which I looked up because that's actually mythology-wise one of the places Cersei lived at for quite a while. So as soon as Wonder Woman and Troya arrive, the woman from earlier that we now know as Cersei reveals herself. And Troya immediately goes in to attack Cersei, but before she can land a blow, Barbara appears, moving so fast, moving Cersei, which causes Troya to obviously miss punching Cersei and leaving a large impact into the ground, kind of just showing off the strength that she now has. Now Barbara, now strongly resembling a cheetah, while she still has a somewhat humanoid body, basically she looks like New 52 Cheetah, but she gets into a defensive position to protect Cersei. And Cersei explains that Barbara is now her personal cheetah, calling her kind of like a pet, like a slave. Even referring to her, as such, basically to show that she doesn't care about Barbara. That Barbara's just, a tool basically for her to use to get what she wants. So Wonder Woman and Troya then fight Cheetah. And this would be a really cool fight scene. I don't know who I have in mind to choreograph the fight scene, but it'd be really cool if the right choreographer did it. Because obviously, Cheetah has superior reflexes, or not superior reflexes, Cheetah has superior speed, perception, and the Blade of Hermes with her, which could, go for some pretty cool fighting, while Wonder Woman and Troya have superior reflexes, strength, and fighting skill. So it kind of balances the two out. Obviously not really balancing the two out, but between all of them together, Troya and Wonder Woman are able to somewhat balance out, Cheetah's, newfound abilities. So eventually Troya is able to get Cheetah into a submission hold long enough for Wonder Woman to destroy the blade using the Sword of Zeus. So now that the Sword of Zeus has destroyed the Blade of Hermes, almost immediately Cheetah begins a painful transformation back to Barbara Minerva, and just like normal mortal human form. And Cersei realizes that she's essentially screwed at this point, so she begins her escape using humanoid animal slaves to delay them long enough to fully escape. Now, these humanoid animal slaves, I really got the idea from playing DC Universe Online, because they have all those like humanoid boar people and all that stuff. So I don't know what animals I'd go for, but there probably would be humanoid boars, maybe it's like some minotaur looking people. I don't know, just get creative. It'd be really cool to see this. So obviously we get a fight scene with them, Troya and Wonder Woman versus these humanoid animal slaves. And Wonder Woman brings Barbara actually back to Argus for examination, containment, and observation until further tests can be conducted on her before she could obviously be released to the public. And Troya / Donna Troy returns to Themyscira, while her blessing, will eventually wear off. So the Sword of Zeus now, we get a really cool scene, and pay attention to what I'm about to say. So Wonder Woman stabs the Sword of Zeus back, or doesn't stab it back, but stabs it into the ground. Now, then a massive magical lightning bolt strikes the sword, and immediately the sword goes back to Zeus. And if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, basically that's a Shazam lightning bolt. Because obviously the lightning bolt that Shazam gets is from Zeus. So I thought that'd be a pretty cool, nod, I guess. But anyways, all seems well as Wonder Woman is given her next assignment. And this one is actually pretty interesting because it's the capture of Heracles' adamantine club, which has been discovered in Turkey being used to break in the vaults. I know, very classic criminal breaking the vaults kind of thing. So Wonder Woman then flies off, leaving Waller and Trevor to talk. So Steve Trevor hands Amanda Waller an energy reading, statistic, showing that boom tube energy spikes are happening at various places around the world, similar to what occurred in the first Justice League screenplay I wrote. Obviously, after what happened in Justice League, Argus has been, keeping tabs on boom tubes in case, Apocalypse comes back. So Waller then tells Steve to prepare something called the Revelations Protocol while she makes a call herself. And that's where the actual main story ends. Now, obviously, you got to keep the tradition going with the post-credit scenes. And the post-credit scene is essentially Waller sending out a call to all members of the Justice League saying that it's round 2. So that's the end of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this screenplay. The next one, obviously, is Justice League 2. I have them all planned out to the end already. It's really cool. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me how you guys like. Do you like the new design I used? Do you like the new thumbnails I've implemented? Just let me know here. And this is Hybrid. Please subscribe, comment, and like. And if you couldn't tell, my main influences for the actual story itself, at least in the beginning, was Indiana Jones and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So I'll see you guys later, and subscribe, comment, and like, and that's it.